everyone, welcome back. It's great to have you here today. In this video, we are going to go through this paper together. Before we dive in, please make sure you have had a go at these questions. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, so here's the first question. In the question, they want us to factorize x squared subtract 25. Now, by using the difference of two squares, we know it can be written as x subtract 5, x plus 5. Now, what we need to do is to write this expression in the form of x squared take away d multiplied by ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, x subtract 3x plus 3. If we factorize these two, we will get x squared take away 9. By expanding x plus 7x subtract 6, we will have x squared plus x take away 42. And this is our final answer. Now moving on to the second question, we are told that w, x, y, z are 4 consecutive integers. That means they are next to each other. Now what we need to do is to prove that for any set of 4 consecutive integers, y, z take away wx is equal to the sum of 4 consecutive integers. So if we let w be n, x is going to be 1 more than n, y is going to be 1 more than x, which is n plus 2, and z is n plus 3. Now yz is n plus 2, n plus 3. wx is n plus 1. By expanding the brackets and collecting the like term, we have 4n plus 6. And then that says this expression is equal to the sum of 4 consecutive integers. I will need to add w, x, y, z together, and as we can see, it's also 4n plus 6. Therefore, we have proved this statement. Okay, so now moving on to question 3. Triangles ABC and PQR are similar. We are told that triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle. One of the angles is 40 degrees. One of the angles is obtuse. Therefore, we know that the other two angles must be 40 degrees and 100 degrees. Two of the sides are each 10 centimeters. Okay, so now what we are going to do is to draw out triangle ABC and PQR and also label the angles. Now, because these two triangles are similar, therefore their angles are going to be the same. We are also told that length PQ is 1.5 times length AB. Therefore, the length scale factor is 1.5. We are also told that two of the sides are each 10 centimeters. So then that tells us AB and BC is going to be 10. By using the scale factor, we know PQ and QR are going to be 15. What we need to do now is to work out the area of triangle PQR. Here are two methods. First, we can use the triangle formula half AB sine C to work out the area of PQR, which is 111. Or what we can do is we can work out the area of triangle ABC by using the same formula. We will get 49.24. Now the area scale factor is length scale factor squared. Therefore, the area of triangle PQR is going to be 49.24 times 1.5 squared, and that gives us 111 centimeters squared. Okay, so now moving on to the next question, question 4. The graph of y equals AB to the negative x passes through the points 0, 0.7, 3, and 0.0875. First, we wanted to find the value of A and the value of B. Because we know 0, 0.7 is on the curve, therefore, by substituting the points back into the equation, we should have 0.7 equals AB to the negative 0. 3, 0.0875 is also on the curve. Therefore, we will get the equation 0.0875 equals AB to the negative 3. Now, from the first equation, we know A is going to be 0.7. It's because B to the negative 0 is 1. And now we know from the second equation, 0.0875 is 0.7 times B to the negative 3. Now, by dividing both sides by 0.7, we have B to the negative 3 is 1 over 8. Now, B to the negative 3 is 1 over B cubed. Therefore, B is going to be 2. Now, what we need to do is to sketch the graph. The graph is y equals 0.7 times 2 to the negative x. We know that it passes through 0, 0.7, and 3, 0.0875. What we can also do is to pick a few points and see what the curve looks like. Okay, so now here is a sketch of the curve. Now moving on to question 5. In question 5, it asks us to sketch the graph of y equals sine x from negative 180 to 180. We know that the sine curve starts from 0. The highest point is going to be 1. That occurs when x is 90. The lowest point is negative 1, and that happens when x is negative 90. Now what we need to do in part B is to solve 2w squared plus 3w plus 1. Now what we want to do is first, by using Farmer's field, we need to find factor of 2 that multiply to give us 2 but add to give us 3. So 1 and 2 is one of them. So we can see that we can factorize this quadratic equation into 2w plus 1, w plus 1. By using zero trick, we have w is a half, w is negative 1. Okay, so next part, we are told that triangle ABC is a right angled triangle. And what we need to do is to use Pythagoras theorem to show that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is 1. Now first, we need to label the sides. AC is H, BC is A, and AB is O. A is H cos theta, O is H sine theta by using sine and cosine scale factor. Now we know O squared plus A squared is H squared. That is the Pythagoras theorem. So h sine theta squared plus h cos theta squared is h squared. By expanding the brackets, we have h squared sine theta squared plus h squared cos theta squared is h squared. By factorizing out h squared, we have h squared sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is h squared. Dividing both sides by h squared, we will have sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is 1. Now, we need to use this fact to solve 3 take away 2 cos squared theta plus 3 sine theta. Given that sine x squared plus cos x squared is 1, we need to solve 3 take away cos squared plus 3 sine x is 0. Cos x squared is also 1 subtract sine x squared. So the equation can be written as 3 take away 2 lots of 1 take away sine x squared plus 3 sine x is 0. By expanding the bracket and collect the like term, we have 2 sine x squared plus 3 sine x plus 1. If we let sine x to be w, we have 2w squared plus 3w plus 1. This is what we solved in part B. From part B, we know w is negative a half or negative 1. So that means sine x is going to be negative a half or negative 1. Okay, so by using calculator, we can work out first x value is negative 30. By using our graph in part A, we know that negative 150 is also one of the answers. And the sine x is negative 1 is when x is negative 90. Therefore, our final answer is going to be negative 30, negative 150, and negative 90. Okay, so now moving on to the next question, question 6. We now need to use the factor theorem to show that x subtract 2 is a factor of this cubic. So if x is 2, we have 2 cubed take away 2 squared, take away 14 times 2 plus 24, and we need to show that this equals 0. Therefore, x subtract 2 is a factor of this cubic. Given that x is 2y, we want to write this cubic as a product of its linear factors. That means 2y take away 2 is a factor from part A because x equals 2y. So now by using Farmer's field, we know that to get 8y cubed, we needed to multiply 2y by 4y squared. By multiplying that by negative 2, we have negative 8y squared. Now we know these two terms need to make negative 4y squared. That means this needs to be 4y squared. And that tells us 2y times 2y is 4y squared. Therefore, this must be negative 4y. And then we know these two terms must make negative 28y. That means this needs to be negative 24y. And that tells us this is going to be negative 12. And that gives us the constant 24, which is the same as the constant in the expression. So that means this cubic can be written as 2y subtract 2 multiplied by 4y squared plus 2y take away 12. Now if we look at the first factor, we can further factorize out 2. That gives us 2 lots of y take away 1. If we look at the second bracket, we can also factorize out a 2. That gives us 2y squared plus y take away 6. And now by looking at the second bracket, we can further factorize this into 2y take away 3, y plus 2. Therefore, our final answer should be 4 lots of y take away 1 multiplied by 2y take away 3 times by y plus 2. Okay, so now moving on to question 7. In this question, we needed to use the trapezium rule to find an estimate for the area of the region under the curve y equals 2 to the power of x between x is 1 and 7. And we need to use 4 strips for this. So to start with, we wanted to make ourselves a picture. Let's sketch y equals 2 to the power of x. We wanted to estimate the area between x is 1 and 7. Now between 1 and 7, there is a length of 6. We want to use 4 strips of equal widths. That means each strip needs to be 1.5. Therefore, our x value should be 1, 2.5, 4, 5.5, and 7. The corresponding y value is going to be 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2.5, 2 to the 4, 2 to the 5.5, and 2 to the 7. Now, by using the formula, we know the height is going to be 6 over 4. We want the first value and the final value, and then we know there are 2 lots of the values in between. Therefore, the final answer is going to be 198, corrected to 3SF. Okay, so now let's move on to question 8. We are told that ABCD is a triangular base pyramid. E is a point on the line AB. F is a point on the line CE. CF to FE is 3 to 2. Now BC is 7.2 centimeters. BF is 4.1. Angle CBF is 49 degrees. Angle CED is 109 degrees. Angle CDE is 32 degrees. What we wanted to do is to find the length of CD. Okay, so let's draw out the triangle just so that we can see it better. We wanted to find CD. We are told the angle CDE and DEC. We need to find the length CE. If we know the length of CE, then we'll be able to use the sine rule to find CD. Okay, so how do we find CE? Let's have a look at the triangle CFB. Now, in triangle CFB, we are told that CB is 7.2, CBF is 49, and BF is 4.1. So to work out CF, we can use cosine rule. By using cosine rule, we found out FC is 5.47 centimeters. Now we also know CF to FE is 3 to 2. Now another way to write a ratio is fraction. We can write it as CF over FE is 3 over 2. Now we worked out CF to be 5.47. To work out EF, we can cross multiply 2 times 5.47 over 3, and that gives us 547 over 150. Okay, now we also know CE is CF plus FE, which is 5.47 added the fraction, and that should give us 9.1167. So CE is 9.1167. We also have the opposite angle, so we can use the sine rule to work out CD. And CD is 16.3, corrected to 3SF. Okay, so now let's move on to question 9. Now in this question, we are told that the cupboards come in 2 sizes, 600mm wide, 900mm wide. X is the number of 600mm cupboards, and Y is the number of 900mm cupboards. 2 constraints, X greater than 2 and 0 smaller than Y smaller than equal to 9. So we wanted to explain in context what does 0 smaller than Y smaller than equals 9 represents. So Y is the number of 900mm cupboards. Therefore, that means the number of 900mm cupboards is greater than 0 and 9 or less. Now we are also told that 600mm cupboards cost 210 and 900 cost 240. Sevier has a maximum budget of 3,600 and the total width of all cupboards is 12 meters or less. We need to use the information to show that 7x plus 8y is smaller than equal to 120 and 2x plus 3y is smaller than equal to 40. Now we know the total cost needs to be smaller than equal to 3,600. We have x amount of 600mm cupboards, each costs 210. Therefore, 210x plus 240y needs to be smaller than equal to 3,600. Dividing both sides by 30, we have 7x plus 8y smaller than equal to 120. Now, we also told that the total width of the cupboards needs to be 12 meters or less. Therefore, that means 600 millimeters times x plus 900 millimeters times y needed to be smaller than equal to 12,000 millimeters. Dividing both sides by 300, we get the inequality that is stated in the question. What we need to do now is to draw a line on the grid to identify the feasible region. So from the question, we know that we have 4 constraints in total. First, let's look at x equals 2. It's given in the question. We need to shade away the parts we don't want because we want it to be greater than 2. Now we need to look at the y. Y is between 0 and 9. Therefore, we can shade away the region we don't want. Moving on to the next one. Now these two equations are more difficult. What we are going to do is to rearrange to make y the subject, just to make sure that we know which equation is this line. Now as we can see, the y-intercept is 15. Therefore, this equation represents 7x plus 8y smaller than or equal to 120. We want it to be smaller than or equal to 120. Therefore, we don't want the region that is above this line. The final equation, we need to rearrange it and plot it ourselves. Okay, so by picking a few points, we'll be able to get the line. And we also wanted the region to be smaller than or equal to 40. Therefore, the region that is above the line is shaded away. Therefore, this is the region R. Okay, now moving on to the next part. Xavier decides to buy 7 of the 600mm cupboards and the maximum number of 900mm cupboards possible. We know from part B, she has a maximum budget of 3,600. She needs 7 lots of 210 and we can get a maximum number of 8 900mm cupboards. So the total amount of money she will spend on these cupboards is 3,390. Okay, so now moving on to the final question, we are told that a bag contains only red counters and yellow counters. There are more yellow counters than red counters. A counter is taken at random from the bag, the color noted, and then the counter is put back into the bag. The process is repeated one more time, and the probability that exactly one of the 2 counters taken from the bag was red is 0.255. Simon then takes 1 counter from the bag. So we want to find the probability that Simon takes a yellow counter from the bag. First, let's draw a tree diagram. In this question, we are taking 2 counters, therefore we need 2 sets of branches. We know that there are 2 outcomes, red, yellow. In this question, we are not told how many counters there are or what the probability is to take a red counter, so we are going to call it x for the probability of taking red and y for the probability that we are taking a yellow counter. Because the counter is put back into the bag, therefore the probability in the second round does not change. We know that x plus y needs to be 1 because the probability sum up to 1. We also know that from the question, the probability that exactly one of the 2 counters was red is 0.255. Therefore, we have xy plus xy equals 0.255. From the first equation, we know y is 1 subtract x. Therefore, 2xy is going to be 2x times 1 subtract x, and that is 0.255. By expanding the bracket and rearranging, we have a quadratic equation. Now, a is 1, b is negative 1, and c is 0.1275. By using quadratic formula, we can work out x to be 0.85 or x is 0.15. We are told that there are more yellow counters than red counters. Therefore, y is going to be greater than x. So x is 0.15, y is 0.85. Now, in the question, they are asking the probability that Simon takes a yellow counter from the bag. It's asking for the value of y, which is 0.85. That's it for today. Well done for making it through to the end, especially if you have done the questions yourself. Remember, maths isn't a spectator sport, and we have to keep practicing to be more fluent. Happy revising, and I'll see you in the next video.